"Do you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?" A friend of mine called me up and asked. I agreed instantly and we decided to go. All the climbers assembled at Moshi, Tanzania, a day or two before the climb. We stayed at Chania Lodge, a reasonably good place. But let me come back to the climb in just a little bit. Those of us that had a couple of extra days set out on a mini safari to Arusha National Park, an area of about 150 square kilometers in the northeast region of Tanzania. Here, we had the opportunity to view some animals that we did not get to see in the other safari parks that we went to after the climb. These are colobus monkeys. They are black and white and have a lot of fur. Interestingly though, babies don't seem to have as much fur. Baboons were plenty, but blue monkeys or diademid monkeys were to be seen only in this one spot. A short drive within the park took us to the Mikindu observation point on the crater rim. We were able to view hundreds of Cape buffaloes. For these buffaloes, it's heaven, as they can lie in the mud pools at the bottom of the crater. A few warthogs made their appearance. There were quite a few giraffes and zebras. Zebras are said to be in pairs facing opposite directions so they can watch for predators on either side, but I got quite a few of them with heads in one direction. Flamingos were countless. And these are African water bucks. Thankfully, the 3 hippos we saw on the brief canoe ride that we went were far away from our canoes. We often see painted zebra crossings. Here's a real one. This was the only pose the albino monkey offered us. Going back to the planning phase of our trip, Parag, Devin and myself, the core climbers, nailed down December 2019 as the month for the adventure. Devin's children and a couple of my friends joined us. On the 21st December, after a visit to the local Hindu temple, the team was ready. At over 19,000 feet, Mt Kilimanjaro is the tallest peak in Africa. It lies just south of the equator. December 22nd. Everyone was excited. The day had finally arrived, start of our climb. After a 3-hour drive through Tanzania countryside, we arrived at the Rongai Gate. Much of Tanzania reminded me of India, the greenery, the narrow roads, hawkers by the roadside. We had chosen Rongai route over 6 days as this is an easier route for acclimatization. Distances were less than 6 miles every day except the last 2 days. After having our packed lunches, by noon we headed for the first camp, the Simba camp at 2671 meters. We covered the 8-kilometer distance in about 3 to 4 hours. The mountain weather showed its color with gradually increasing rain, but thankfully our tents have been set up and we were able to get in and change into dry clothes. The following morning the sky was mostly clear, and after some hot tea and pictures we started with all the enthusiasm. The terrain was slightly different. Big trees were replaced with shorter ones, and the path was a bit more stony. Distance and time taken was still the same, as was the rain, which came on earlier than the first day. The far side beneath the clouds, Lake Kenya, is what our guides told us. We were now at 3,450 meters at the second cave camp. 24th December, we headed to Kikileva camp, situated at 3,600 meters, about 10,800 feet. It took us about 3 hours to get here. Culprit? Rain. While poncho is an amazing creation, especially the ones we rented, they were never really fun to walk in. Now and then we got some good pictures whenever the weather cleared. The Senecia plant seen here is a very common one in Tanzania, around 10,000 feet, and the mountain forms a good backdrop. Destination for 25th was the Mavenzi Tan camp. Of course, rain, mist, fog gave us company throughout our climb. There was plenty of variety in the food we were provided, even though all of us had chosen to remain vegetarians on the climb. We had the African version of calzone, pancakes, omelets, porridge, soup, pizza, bread, just to name a few things. People seemed to hate the porridge, but I quite enjoyed the porridge. And soup should be had a lot on mountains. The next day, 26 December, was not much different from a weather perspective. The sun was out only briefly. Our destination was Kibo Camp at 4,700 meters. Today we did the team introductions. Each team member and the crew introduced themselves.
Naishi Marangu, all 48. Nafanya kazi share tours. Miaka 8. Karibu sana. Asante. Mimi naitwa Ronaldi John Mosha. Nina miaka 42.
There was also singing and dancing. Normally this would have happened much earlier, but weather had played such a spoilsport every single day so far.
Mimi naitwa Elisha James, nafanya kazi na Share Tours, ni miaka 2 sasa, na umri wa miaka 27, nafanya kama waiter. Natokea Arusha. Asante.
Morning. Jina langu ni Joshua Maro. Ninafanya na Share kama guide. Nina miaka 33. Karibuni sana.
Jambo. Ya, naitwa Wallace. Na miaka 44. Nafanya na kampuni ya Share Tours. Karibuni Kilimanjaro.
So, jina langu David, ni head guide, nafanya kazi na Share Tours, but I'm freelander, na miaka 46. So karibuni.
Jina langu Parag. Thank you very much for all of your hard work.
Jina langu Deven Upadhyay. Papa ji. Thank you for all the support, the entire team. We really appreciate your hard work.
Good morning. Jina langu Aditi. Mambo. Good. Asante sana. Asante.
Jina langu Deepshika. Thank you for all your hard work. Without you, we cannot do this adventure.
Habari za asubuhi. Mambo vipi? Jina langu ni Ladri. Ninatoka California.
Asante.
Mimi ni muhandisi na kompyuta. Nafanya kazi Intel. Asante sana.
Jina langu Ari. Thank you everyone. You've been doing tremendous job.
Jina langu Mihir Upadhyay. I am Jina langu Arun. Like everyone said, thank you all. Because of you, we have made it to here. And I think because of you, we'll make it to the summit. So thank you very much.
Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro, Kilimanjaro. Hey, Kilimanjaro, milima mrefu sana. Na mawenzi, na mawenzi, na mawenzi. Na mawenzi, milima mrefu sana. Nayo kibo, nayo kibo. Nayo kibo, milima mrefu sana. Ewe nyoka, ewe nyoka, ewe nyoka. Ewe nyoka, mbona wanizunguka? Wanizunguka, wanizunguka.
After reaching Kibo camp, the clan called for the summit departure at midnight. However, due to incessant rain, we had to reconsider the start time. While most of the team slept, I was largely up to watch the weather and decide the departure time. On all previous nights, the skies had been clearing up in the night. Indeed, by midnight the sky had started to clear. The summit wake-up call was at midnight, but it was only 1:30 by the time we started off. 27 December between 9:30 and 10 a.m., all except one reached Gilman's Point at 18,652 feet. With very little sleep, it was really tough to walk, especially until daybreak. 9 hours to Gilman Point and another 3 kilometers to Ururu Peak, the guides were not too keen for any of us to carry on. We were so near, yet so far. While everyone had reached the highest ever in their climbing career, it was an unfinished dream. Team dinner back at Chania Lodge was obvious, with the hopes to reach Ururu in future.
अरे पूल भरला आता
काळा पण आला तो डॉमिनेट करणार
अजून एक आला
Now it was time for the safari. Day 1 was Tarangere National Park. I was a bit worried on seeing the number of jeeps as Michael, our guide, pulled up to the entrance gate. We ate our packed lunch while Michael validated the entrance pass. The crowd was not as bad as the jeeps that we saw. Among the first residents that we saw were these playful monkeys. Impalas were to be seen everywhere. But soon, we were to see the first of the big five. Elephants, African elephants. They all seemed rather happy and not bothered by the dozens of jeeps in close proximity. It appeared as if few adult elephants were kicking the baby around like a football, and the baby seemed to be enjoying it. They were either grazing or throwing mud onto themselves. Like the zebra crossing, we now see an elephant crossing and crossing back. Maybe he left something back there. Suddenly, Michael stopped the jeep and asked us to look on the right. Sure enough, a cheetah had been spotted, and it seemed to gaze at the odd four-legged open-roof structure. It was now nearing dusk, and we had to stop for the day. We stayed in a tent lodge called the Pembeni Rutia at Karatu. These lodges were very well equipped with toilet, wash basin, shower, and beds with mosquito nets. But even more than the lodges, the views were breathtaking and the bird calls enchanting. day 2 of safari, the Maasai village was an indication that we were approaching Serengeti. A kid from the tribe approached our vehicle asking for water. White bearded race of the blue wildebeest. First to show up were the hyenas. Interestingly, hyenas are scavengers, but they are extremely intelligent and often dangerous. They also steal food from lions or other predators. There were zebras in pairs, although again heads in the same direction. Some in fact almost seem like one zebra with two heads. Interestingly though, we were informed that each zebra has a different pattern, as do giraffes, much like human fingerprints. Perhaps easy to nab them if they commit a crime. Dung beetle. Moving a ball of dung. Ahila. Wow.
My second attempt at running buffalo was wildebeest was not successful.
कान हिल रहा है ना उसका.
Can we have binocular?
काय बघणार आहे तू बायनोक्युलर ने?
त्याला नीट. After our lunch break, all of a sudden there was a lot of radio chatter between jeep drivers. One of them had spotted an animal, and all that chatter was giving directions to that spot. Michael was very skillful in reaching the location ahead of several other jeeps, so as to grab the best viewing spot. Yet, a lot of viewing opportunities depend on the animals themselves. After driving around for a few more hours, Michael said we had to head to camp. These camps change their location every 6 months so as to reduce environmental impact. And this was Michael's first time this season coming to the Serengeti Kati camp. Fortunately, he was able to locate it, and in the process he even towed another vehicle that had stuck in 3 feet of mud.
नाही.
आता दिवसभर बाहेर व संध्याकाळी लॉजवर परत. असं आहे, इंटरेस्टिंग आहे, खूपच छान आहे. म्हणजे
This is the shower. One chain, if you pull, the shower turns on. The other one, if you pull it, turns off. There's a bucket outside that they fill with water. This is our huge bedroom basin area. That's it. नेली चल आता.
ओके चला मग मी बोलते नंतर फोनवर. काय माधुरी काय नाही सगळे ॲनिमल्स आहेत सगळे.
We were now getting ready for our last full day of the safari. It was a beautiful morning. We started by sighting some hippos. Followed by plenty of giraffe time, including giraffe crossing. You can very easily see that no two giraffes have the same spot pattern. Interestingly, giraffes, although perhaps the tallest animal, are not counted as the big five. But he's so close that it's okay. Next up was a tour of a Maasai village. Having studied about this tribe in high school, I insisted that we visit a village. I would think that only in recent times they must have started allowing visitors, as they too have become commercialized. We paid a fee of $20 per person to visit a village. The village chief took us around his village and showed us Maasai hut and a lot of arts and craft made by people of his village. He even compelled us to buy some. The tribe welcomed us with a dance. We also had to wear the Maasai attire and participate in the dance. During this time, the chief took over my camera.
Where's your camera?
Thereafter, the villagers demonstrated jumps. The Maasais are really good jumpers, and that includes women too. The higher the jump, the stronger the person is considered. The sounds were no musical instruments, but made by the jumpers themselves. They even have jumping contests, and jumps can be as high as 80 centimeters. This was followed by a demonstration of lighting fire without a matchstick. A small groove is made in a softwood stick. A slender hardwood stick is then rubbed in this groove. In our demo, I think it took longer than usual, and a number of men tried their hand at it. Maasais use the fire to burn the land or fields, so it triggers new grass growth for their livestock to feed on. The people do not eat any fruits, grain or vegetables, but only meat. And if no cattle has died, then they drink the blood of cows. The cow does not die though. Ultimately, the friction resulted in smoke, which is when the embers were ready to be transferred to some dry grass.
How's it? Are you being okay for really the fire? Yep. Yes.
The grass is then held against the wind. The wind blows into the grass, and voila, the flame appears. To us campers, this is nothing new. But these people have been doing this for centuries and still continue to use this method.
Okay. The leader of the...
We then visited a typical Maasai hut. The chief constantly referred to Niladri as the tall one. We drove along the Ngorongoro crater rim towards our hotel, the 5-star Ngorongoro Sopa Lodge. The approach itself told us that we were headed for an enchanting location. It was the 31st December and celebrations had already begun by the time we reached the lodge at 7 p.m. A sack of balloons ready for releasing at midnight. The morning of 1st January. We were feeling both sad and happy. It was the last few hours with the animals. And clearly, it was the day of the jackal. Cape buffaloes, one of the big five, were not to be left behind. The best part of our trip, the most exciting part, was yet to come. Of course, we didn't know that. One final opportunity to view the zebras revealed that the stripes on young zebras are brown. As the zebras turn into adults, the stripes turn black. Hippopotamus. Far away, we noticed a pack of lions. At last, the moment we had been waiting for had arrived. To our pleasant surprise, they seemed to be approaching the jeep tracks. This meant we would get to see them from close quarters. There was a mama lion, a papa lion, and cubs. We were lucky to see a chase. Under the watchful eyes of this lioness, we witnessed this cub chase a zebra, though what seemed like a half-hearted attempt. Perhaps it was getting trained, or was not really hungry enough for the kill. The lions even grazed our jeeps. Now the show was coming to an end. When the cub was chasing the zebra, the entire park, be it the zebras, the buffaloes, the impalas, giraffes, and even elephants, had come to a standstill, as if watching a thriller. All tension was released when the chase was given up. The animals began to graze again. Such was the cohesiveness amongst the animals. All the lions, about 15 of them, crossed the jeep tracks and went over to the side of the park that we had driven through. We were on our way out of the Ngorongoro crater after one last look at it from the rim, on our way back to civilization, or maybe to our uncivilized methods of living.